What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. Alright, so before I get into this video, I want to give a big shout out to the brother Town Biz for giving me a link to this clip. Much respect to him. And please subscribe to his platform, Town Biz Media and Sports Entertainment. You've probably heard me talk about this in passing in some videos. I think it's been a couple of videos on YouTube I've talked about this. I've talked more about this in detail on the Patreon. And that is this link between the music industry and the prison industrial complex. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about when I say that, well, in a nutshell, the prison industrial complex, there are many now, I don't know exactly how many, but many privately owned prisons in America. It's not the days in the past where these prisons were state and federally funded, government owned. No, these prisons are privately owned property now. And they have multiple investors. As a matter of fact, some of your richest people in the world have stock in these prisons. Some of the people who you admire, matter of fact, some of the people who even look like you, probably have stock in these prisons, which makes it especially disgusting because the vast majority of people who are being imprisoned in these prisons look like you too. So this is how it works in a nutshell. The bigger these prisons are, the more building space that there has to be created to hold and house the prisoners. The more prisoners there are, the more capita space that needs to be made for these prisons, the more valuable these prisons are, and the higher the stock goes, the more valuable these prisons are. So the desire, obviously, is for more and more and more and more people to be in prison. Well, obviously, you have to pick who exactly goes into these prisons. And by societal pecking order, unfortunately, it tends to be black men and then followed by maybe Latinos. That's just the way things have been in this country. A country that supposedly doesn't see race. Now, enter the music industry. Rap became sort of mainstream, what we would say the late 80s, early 90s. Before that, it was seen as a fad, but obviously it wasn't. But let's go back 30 years ago to the type of rap music that was out then. Yeah, NWA was quote-unquote gangster, but they still talked about conscious things. They talked about police corruption. They talked about police brutality. They talked about social inequality. They still talked about things that were of redeeming quality. We definitely saw that with Public Enemy, De La Soul, Arrested Development. These types of groups were dominating the hip-hop scene 90, 91, 92. But at that time, and these claims have been confirmed by rappers who are no longer in the industry. These claims have been confirmed by journalists who have anonymous sources that were once in the music industry and may have had ties to the prison industrial complex in some hierarchy order. Even former music executives, speaking in anonymity, who were there at these meetings, they've confirmed that these meetings took place in the early 1990s. So what happened was the big dogs, the people who are at the top of the food chain when it comes to people who have stock or ownership of stock in the prison industrial complex, right? They had a meeting with the top people in the music industry. Those who were in executive positions in the music industry were told to sign these contracts, which was binding, and in some instances there was threats implied that if you didn't sign this, that at the very worst your career is over, at the least, and at the most something else more important could be over. But they signed these contracts, which basically told them that they were going to have to start putting out music which would push younger people, in general younger African American men, and maybe some Latino men too, into a life of crime. They had to start promoting rap that glorified violence, that glorified amoral behavior, that you had to have rappers who were talking about their crimes or reputed crimes, even if it's imagined, on wax. They wanted this type of music to replace the conscious music that was put out then. Think about it. When did we start seeing that shift in rap? When did you start seeing that shift? Around 1992, 1993. Think about it. You stopped seeing Arrested Development. You stopped seeing, the conscious rap, and it started being replaced with quote-unquote gangster rap. You even saw goddamn MC Hammer, the most commercially driven rapper ever. Remember, he felt pressured to start putting on the gangster persona. It was all by design. It was all by design so that the prison industrial complex could thrive. And it has. Since the 1970s, the prison population in this country has exploded. I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but I want to say in the late 70s, there was like 500,000 people in this country imprisoned. The last time I checked, I think that number is like at 3 to 4 million. That's not by accident. It was by design. The people who are in charge of the music industry, especially those in the rap industry, they have stock as a consequence of this, the payoff. They have stock in these prisons at a reduced price as a reward for pushing this music in our communities. But yet, these heads of these music industry, these heads will take pictures with these rappers and take pictures like they, you be like, oh man, he's cool, man, he's cool. This guy ain't cool. This guy fucking owns stock in prisons to send people that look like your black ass to jail. And they're profiting off of it. And they're promoting it, and they know what they're doing. And not just them, but like I said earlier in the video, some of your favorite rappers. Some of your favorite rappers, the real rich ones. You don't have to think too hard what I'm talking about. I'm not going to name any names. But it's been rumored a lot of them own stock in these prisons. It's even been rumored that some of your most iconic sports legends have owned stock in these prisons. And I'm going to end it on this. Before I play this audio clip from Ice Cube. Most of these people that are in the head, they're heads of the music industry, are Democrats. So that's another reason why I don't. Just because you're a Democrat doesn't mean you have my best interests at heart. And I just don't understand why it's so hard for some people to understand where I'm coming from with that. I'm not saying vote Republican. But what I'm saying is, if you're in a toxic relationship with somebody, end it. We're in a toxic relationship with the Democratic Party. I'd rather be by myself and get myself situated and straight than keep being in a relationship with a party that's destroying us. They're destroying our culture. But nobody sees it other than me and a couple of other people. But anyway, this is Ice Cube right here.
Same people who own the labels own the prisons.
Literally the same people?
Literally the same people who own the labels own private prisons. So, you know, it seems really kind of suspicious, if you want to say that word, that, you know, the records that come out are really geared to push people towards that prison industry.
So if your theory is that the prison industrial complex, and I agree, that's an abomination. We'll start off with there. Prison should, I've done editorials on this on my show. Prison is one of those things that should not be in private hands. I did not know about this connection to the music industry, that it's the exact same people. If by that you mean that the people